All right, there's the recording. Recording has been started for those that cannot be here. Hello and welcome everyone to week 4. This is it, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? Everyone doing well? Hopefully. I see some of you have had a pretty good spring break so far. That's good. Glad to have you back. We have 33 of us in here right now. That's great right now. Awesome. So, so just to let you guys know a few things before we get started here. Just to let you know, today I'm actually broadcasting live from the countryside of Wisconsin. I'm actually out in the country right now. I had to fly up for an emergency, so I'm doing the session from Wisconsin right now. Thank you, John. Um, hopefully, where in Wisconsin? I am actually about 20 miles due west of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So I'm almost right between Eau Claire and Minneapolis, probably about maybe 70 miles east of Minneapolis, kind of towards the northwest corner. So the middle of nowhere. Sometimes it feels that way, yes. Sometimes. Oh, really, Caitlin? I actually love this area. I love Wisconsin. I love my home state. We have seasons as opposed to Florida, which has two seasons, hot and really hot. Appleton, I'm very familiar with Appleton. I've had a couple friends live from there. I've been to Appleton a few times in my life. That's more towards the southern part of the state. So that's the first thing. Hopefully, my internet will not die. The internet's kind of spotty out here from time to time, so hopefully we'll be okay. Yeah, yeah. Summer and death summer. That's our two seasons. So that's the first thing. Second thing, nobody spoil the Avengers. I have not had a chance to see the Avengers yet, just due to everything going on. I know that that makes me a bad person for not being able to see the Avengers yet. So please, no spoiling it for me or anybody else in here who has not seen it yet for whatever reason and it wants to see it. Yeah, I've heard it's amazing. I literally know nothing about it except that it's really, really good. I have somehow managed to avoid all of the spoilers for Avengers. So that's the second thing. No spoiling the Avengers for me. Oh, don't worry about seeing it. I'm going to see it. I'm hoping to go see it uh, either tomorrow or Thursday. And Samuel brings up a good point here, right to my third point. Nobody spoil Game of Thrones. I am actually caught up on Game of Thrones, so I personally am all caught up with that. But for anybody else here in Game of Thrones that has not managed to watch the episode yet or is behind for whatever reason, this is a spoiler-free zone. Um, I will tell you this though: the Game of Thrones episode was very, very good. It was very good. I liked it myself. I thought it was very well done. It could have been maybe a little bit brighter in spots. It was a little dark, but I thought it was pretty well done. Yeah, it was a nail biter towards the end there. So definitely, this is a no spoiler zone for anybody here that has seen both of those. Um, After class is done, I'm willing to talk about Game of Thrones a little bit, but not the Avengers because, like I said, I have not seen it yet. So now that we got the important stuff out of the way, right? All right, so I think we're going to get started here. I'm glad to see there's so many of you out here tonight. Um, yeah, I saw the Sonic. I don't know how I feel about Sonic. I think the Sonic movie. I don't know. Not quite sure how I feel about that one. So this is week 4. You've pretty much made it. I know we had a week break because of the spring break. Hopefully you guys all had fun. But this is it. This is going to be our last time together here. Sonic trailer killed my childhood. Yeah, I didn't want to go quite that far, but yeah, there's a little bit to that. So once again, welcome to week 4, everyone. You've pretty much made it. Once again, great turnout for the evening. This week, just going back over the last few weeks now. I know it feels like it's been a while, but just going over the last few weeks. Week 1, we had our plan of attack and our industry websites. Kind of just learning how to plan things out for your month. Hopefully, taking that into the future. Industry websites is getting you to know what some of the major websites are in your industries, where to look up information and whatnot. Week 2 is about the industry growth. Where are your industries going? Where do you see yourself in the future? And then industry terms, just to try and help you guys connect more with your industries. Week 3, I know that sometimes this seems like a lifetime ago now, which happens at Full Sail, But we did the networking plan, and I see that I was watching the chat box earlier. It seems like a few of you have actually already started to reach out to professionals in your industry, and that is great. Uh, Caitlin, spend my spring break emailing gaming companies about what I need to do. That's a good idea, Caitlin. Just contacting these companies and asking, hey, what do I need to do? I want to do this. What should I be focusing on to get there? That's a very good way to start, Caitlin. And then, of course, the mission statement with action goals. And then this week, we're going to be talking about the professional spotlight, which is people in your industry, and the reflection video as well. We're going to be talking about what those are, what that entails. So I think we're going to get right into it. Don't forget, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to click on the hand raised icon, and that will pop up and I can unmute you, or feel free to type it in the chat box. If you do type in the chat box and I miss it, just keep trying. Sometimes things fly by a little fast. Remember, sometimes the longer I go without interruption, the faster I start talking. So if I start going a little fast, just slow me down. Metaphysically, metaphorically, throw something in my head to get my attention, or start throwing out Avengers spoilers. Actually, but don't seriously, don't do that because that would make me sad. Because if you tell me Avengers spoilers, and then I'll have to tell my wife the Avengers spoilers, and she'll kill me. She already told me. Automatic class failure. All professionalism gone. The new X-Men. I'm curious to see where Disney's going to go with this. Now that Disney owns, everything, I'm kind of curious where they're going to see what's going to happen with these. As long as they don't tinker around too much with Deadpool. Deadpool is just fine the way he is. So, week 4. Week 4 is about your industry. What have you learned about your industry? We are kind of going back. What have you learned about your industry? Where is your place in it? What are you going to do to succeed? And what will it take to make sure that you're going to succeed? How are you going to incorporate these things at school? How are you going to talk about your career? What will you tell others to help them? Sharing is caring, right? If you know something that works for you, feel free to share that. Feel free to share that information. It kind of helps everybody out at the end. And once again, this week we're going to be working on the reflection video and the professional spotlight. The last assignments for TEM. That's what we're going to be doing this week. So I think we're going to start with the reflection video. And I'm sure that I have a lot of questions about the reflection video. Hold on to those questions until I'm gone through it. I know one of the big questions is going to be already, but I guarantee you I will address it. So your reflection video is going to be about 1.5 to 2 minutes long. We want you to answer a few things in this video. What did you learn about? What did you learn about your industry specifically? What did you learn? Did you learn anything good about your industry? What websites did you find? Did you find any information about your industries that you didn't know? Whatever you want to talk about there. That's the first thing. The second thing you want to talk about, what did you learn about your future in that industry? Where do you think you're going to be? How do you think you're going to get there? Going forward, how are you going to apply these skills and concepts to your future success? So you've learned about your industry, a little bit more about what it is. You've learned about what it takes to be in the industry itself. What are you going to do to make sure that you can make that happen? And then lastly, kind of picking on, if your video is a little bit longer than 1.5 to 2.5 minutes, that's fine. I'm actually going to talk about the time constraints here in a bit. And then lastly, we want you to talk about advice that you would give to upcoming TEM students. So knowing what you know now about TEM, what would you tell to a future student? So if you got any friends, imagine telling yourself, a friend about Full Sail, they want to go into a degree program here. What would you tell them about the TEM class? How they can actively prepare for that, and how they can talk about, or how they can actively prepare for going into their future classes, which is something you should all be considering right now. Now, so essentially the reflection video is about what you learned in the exploration of your industry and how you see yourself fitting into the future of that industry, and then kind of what you thought of the TM class. What would you tell future students to do or be prepared for? So for this video, it should be about 1.5 to 2.5 minutes long. If it goes over that, that should be okay as long as it's not terribly over that. So Michelle just said her video was 3 minutes. 3 minutes is perfectly fine. Uh, we wouldn't want something that's like 10 minutes long or anything like that. It's not that we don't want to see it, but we do watch the videos, and it doesn't take quite that long to go through everything. So feel free to go over that constraint, but just don't go too far over it. As this is considered a discussion post, you want to have your video done by Thursday, and then you want to have your 4 replies done by Sunday. And on the replies, make sure that you are giving good, solid response posts. Once again, don't just say, hey, I liked your video. That's not what we're looking for. We want you to give some good, solid response posts to your peers that have already done their videos and uploaded them. And by all means, please feel free to be as creative with this project as you want. I'm going to talk about the creativity here in just a minute. So once again, keep the video short and sweet. If you want to ham it up, that's fine. I do like my comedians. I have no problems with that. Just have fun with it. Do whatever you like with it. You're not going to be graded on the overall production value. I mean, obviously, I need to see it. Obviously, hopefully you'll have clear video. But as far as art and things like that, we're not necessarily grading on that. What we're grading on for the project this week is the content of your work. So even just talking about it is fine. So for the initial post, make sure that you embed your video, or you can actually upload this right directly to FSO if you'd like, or you could put it up to YouTube or Vimeo or whatever your favorite platform is, and then give us the link. Now, if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that if you do use something like YouTube, that you don't have the video set to private. If you set the video to private, I will not be able to see it. Jessica, hold on to that question. I'm going to address that one really quick. Jessica just asked about showing the faces in the video. I'm going to address that in just a minute. That's actually usually the biggest question I have about this video. Yeah, unlisted. If you want to put it to unlisted, that's probably your best bet. Or once again, you can just upload it and embed it directly into the post onto FSO. And for the reply posts, you want to make sure that you do about 1 to 2 paragraphs with good discussion content to 4 of those replies or 4 of their classmates' posts. Remember, the initial post is due on Thursday, and then the final post, the response post, are due on Sunday. Yes, Caitlin, thank you for bringing that up. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact FSO support. Reach out to your instructor. If you are in my class, for example, yes, right now I am in Wisconsin. However, I'm checking my emails at least twice a day for the time that I am up here. So if you are in my class, don't worry, I got you. It's fine. I am checking emails, so if you have any technical questions on creating the videos and what to use, please feel free to reach out to your instructor. And of course, like I said, for those of you that are in my classes, I will be checking my emails throughout the week, so do not worry about that. Now, there's a few different ways you can go about capturing video. Smartphone is fine. If you have a Mac or have a PC with a camera on it, that's perfectly fine as well. Places to upload: YouTube, Vimeo, Biteable. You can use it. You can do this using Powtoons if you want. And I guess now I'll address the question of, do I have to show my face in the video? That is the most common question that I always have. Do I have to show my face in the video? And the answer to that, and I'm sure this will be a relief to many of you, is no. You do not have to show your face in the video. That is not a requirement. However, you must vocally narrate your video. So, for example, if you're using Powtoon, you can use whatever program you want. Powtoon is popular, and Adobe Spark is popular as well. So you can use Adobe Spark. You can use pictures as well. You can use a rotating series of images, however you want to do it. Now, the keyword in there is images. You can't just use one image and then have just audio over that one single image. No, if you're going to use images, that's fine, but you have to use a few of them that make sense along with your presentation. I've also had some streamers before talk about the class while they're playing a game, or they're playing Overwatch, or I have not had an Apex one yet, but I'm perfectly fine with that, as long as you are vocally narrating the project. Once again, the keyword in that one this time is vocally. We do need to hear your voice. So, so please, please, please make sure that you vocally narrate your project. Now, with all this being said, I'm not sure if I think Spark allows video. I think it does. I haven't used Spark too much myself, but yeah, I would be very surprised if it didn't. I got a couple here now saying that yes, it does. So that's the key thing: is you have some sort of imagery and you have your voice on there. Now, if you remember back from creative presentation, don't just have like your script in front of you. We actually want to see images. Don't put your script up on the screen and just read from the screen. Have that in front of you, however you want to do it. Now, with all this being said, and in this part here, this is just my personal opinion. My opinion, the easiest way to do that is to just use your phone and actually speak into that and use the camera on your phone. And yes, that would require you to show your mugs, but that's okay. However, if you don't want to do it, or if you don't want to show your face, and I get that quite a bit, everybody's terrified to be on camera for whatever reason. I'm so used to it now. I teach the campus class as well, so I'm used to being in front of students all the time. As a matter of fact, I could actually put my face on these recordings as well. I just don't, because if I turn on the video portion of this, it really just kills the bandwidth. That's the only reason I don't. So just to kind of go over the reflection or the rubric for this, once again, not going to read all of this, but I do want to go over the exceptional column. If you want exceptional work and are shooting for that 100, you'll have your initial post done by Thursday. Embedded into FSO in the correct format. Uh, Pretty much any video format would do, but the most common one is like MP4 or .mov. Those are the ones that I recommend. Those just seem to play easier. Don't do WAV or anything like that. They get a little funky sometimes. So you either want to have it posted in FSO, or you want to have a link to a YouTube page or a Vimeo page or whatnot. So that would be posted in there by Thursday. Uh, all of the questions that we've asked that I went over have been answered, clearly stating your thoughts. You're using your voice to answer those questions. Um, Creative elements such as titles and graphics would definitely be helpful if you're just using your face. And then lastly, of course, the peer replies. Remember, you need to have a minimum of 4 replies with at least 5 sentences each. Once again, go beyond just saying, good job, I really, really liked your post. So putting this into context, once again, uh, education, learning how to communicate in the virtual world. Many of you are going to find yourselves, in situations where you're going to have video conferencing, speaking to people online or creating videos for whatnot. So this is a good chance to learn that. It also helps with the skill building. Once again, in today's world, so much work is done online with people that could be literally in other countries. I was going to say outer space for a second, but we haven't quite gotten there yet, although that would be really, really cool. And then career building, just learning to communicate, learning to see. Yeah, Sammy says soon. I hope so, Samuel. I would love to give a lecture from the moon. On the flip side, I would be okay with lecturing students that are on the moon. I think that'd be pretty awesome. So just to once again answer the questions, And if anyone cares, and probably you don't, but if anyone cares, that is actually me in the picture. I've actually gone through all these assignments myself, so we go through them every now and then just to make sure that we keep up on our skills. That's me. You can wave to me if you want. I look a little different now. I have a full beard, not just a goatee this time. But as far as some of the questions that we usually get, the first one, can you use a different video editor? You can use any video editing software that you are comfortable with. So this one's a little bit more open for you guys. How do I embed video? The instructions for that are on page 41 to 43 on the FSO student manual, but truthfully, it's pretty easy. There's actually a little in the chat box. There's actually a little icon that looks like a film strip. You click on that, and that will allow you to upload video. And that's honestly, in my opinion, I think that actually works a little bit better than going to YouTube and just submitting the video. YouTube can give you a little funky sometimes, especially if you put music in it. Um, so, my personal suggestion is to use FSO to embed the video in there directly. But if not, that's perfectly fine. You can use whatever you like. Once again, you don't need to have your face in there, but we must have your voice. Also, and this always seems to happen every month, don't just upload an audio file. There does need to be some video component to it. It just doesn't need to be your face. The project itself should be about 2 to 3 minutes max. If it goes a little bit over that, that is perfectly fine. We have no problems with that, but definitely don't start pushing past 5 minutes or something like that. 5 is about the most that we can get away with. If it goes too long, you would be docked points for that. Yeah, that actually is a fridge in the background. And yeah, in case you haven't figured it out, for those of you that are in the NFL, I am a huge Packer fan, and that is an authentic cheese head sitting on top of that fridge as well. Yes, Jessica, it doesn't not have to be on YouTube. It can be just a file, and then you just upload the file to FSO. So it's kind of however you want to do that. Yeah, I see a lot of comments about my fridge. The fridge is pretty cool. I think I said day one of my hobbies is that I'm a home brewer. I like to make my own brew. It's very different from all the other stuff I do. And a friend of mine, as a gift, had a spare fridge, and they actually paint him and his other friend repainted the fridge green and gold colors and put 3 taps on it, so I could actually have it right in my house like that, which was really pretty cool of them. The police box fridge from Doctor Who, that would be pretty cool too. I'd be all right with that. And remember, yes, it is a Borderlands poster, actually. Good eye there. I know it's very, very hard to tell too, but the poster next to the fridge that's on below that little window there is actually Mass Effect 2, a Mass Effect 2 poster. And I have a Halo one off to the side, and then in front of me, like if I looked up in that picture, if I looked up, actually, if you look at my eyes, I'm probably looking at it right there, is a great big Fallout New Vegas poster. And I see that somebody said Borderlands 3. Yes, both my stepson and I are very, very excited for Mass Effect 3. Very excited for it. We were pretty pleased with that trailer. Don't forget, this is a discussion post, so you must respond to your classmates as well. This is the last discussion post that we have for the class. So 4.0 is pretty straightforward. If I had a mini fridge, my dog would probably eat it. Uh, do we have to what, Jasmine? What's the question? Hopefully, I got them all. Do we have to do the video? Yes, you have to. It has to be a video, but once again, you do not need to show your face on it. Um, Another suggestion, really, if you really do not want to show your face, which is once again perfectly fine, a great suggestion is Adobe Spark. Adobe Spark is perfectly fine to use for this project. Any other questions? Raphael, as long as you did a series of images and not just one picture, that's okay. However, if you've only got one picture on there, you would lose points for that. Other questions on this project? Why is the Raven like a writing desk? All right, I'll bite. Why is it like the writing desk? Ah, Alice in Wonderland. Nice. Example of a picture to use. As long as it makes sense with what you're talking about. So you could even use pictures that you used in the previous works. As long as it makes sense with what you're talking about, that's perfectly fine. Video game pics also work. And like I said, I've actually had streamers that just stream themselves playing and use and then talk about the questions and stuff while they're playing. I personally do not have any issues with that. That actually happens quite a bit during the month. I usually out of the three classes, if I have three sections, I usually have about five or six that do that, and I have no issues with that. Could we do a soft music because of family or industries that you want to work for? I would keep it to industries that you want to work for. Um, as far as music, I would not suggest music unless it's very, very soft. I've had students use music in the past, and a lot of times it doesn't get mixed right. It just doesn't. It kind of drowns out their voice. To upload the streams, normally to upload the streams, they just record themselves using a camera. So that's how you would do that. If you use our face, do we need pictures? No. If you use your face, that's all you need to have. You can do both if you like, but if you're just using your face, that's perfectly fine. And yes, Jasmine, you can have other people in the video. I've had people do this video with, usually with their children. If they have children, they have them in the video somehow, which also I'm perfectly okay with. Yeah, it's kind of nice actually. I don't mind seeing the ones with people with that have their kids in it. They're talking about it. I've had a lot of times where people say, the reason they're doing this is because, they have a love of the industry and they want to, do something that makes them happy. Because if they're happy, their kids will be happy. So, I've got no, I have zero problem with that, Jasmine. Yeah, sometimes you have to do multiple takes. The first time I ran through this project myself, it probably took me. I've done it a couple ways. I've done it with myself on there and no images, and I've done it with my voice and then added images to it, just so I kind of understand what you guys as students have to go through to get it done correctly. Usually, the ones where I was in front of the camera, I had to do a couple takes just because I had a script in front of me and I'd screw up, mess up a line or something like that. So that one usually required multiple takes, not too many for me, maybe two or three. The images one, it didn't usually require multiple takes, but it took me a little bit longer to assemble just because I think I was using iMovie one time and I had to get I recorded the audio and I put the images in there. So it was one take, but it took me a little bit longer to assemble. Be aware, it doesn't have to be perfect either. So if you stumble over a couple of lines, uh, we're not going to take points off for that. Yeah, that's true, Sam. I've had a couple kids. I never had anybody cry in a video, so that's good. I'm really glad for that. I've had a couple of kids want to play with the camera, which was cute. I thought that was kind of funny. They get a little fussy, a little noisy. They're kids. You're telling me you have to do it when the kids aren't home. No, that's not what I'm saying, Jessica. You can do it when the kids are home. I thought I missed a question up here. Yeah, if you, like I said, if you mess up a couple sentences or something like that, that's perfectly fine. We're not gonna knock points off for that. As long as we get your meaning, you get your meaning through, you should be okay with the content portion of this. All right, so yeah, I've actually that was what I was gonna say. I've had plenty of students have their pets in it. dogs and cats and whatnot. I tried it once with my cat, but she wasn't cooperating very well. So unfortunately, I was unable to add her in there. She would sit on my lap for about maybe 15 seconds, and then she would try to crawl up on my head. So she was not being very cooperative while I was trying to make this. Okay, so moving on to the professional spotlight video. Oh, I've seen stuff like that before. Seema says one of the examples in creative presentation was a guy who used his dog as a stand-in for himself. I had something like that once. The gentleman actually used his dog, was standing behind his dog, and somehow managed to have the dog wear glasses, and he had his arms on the dog's legs and was moving the dog's arms around like almost like a puppet. But it was pretty good. I wish I would have saved that one. That one was a pretty good one. So I'm perfectly okay. I mean, he answered all the questions and everything, and it was a great video. So, like I said, we said be creative and go nuts. That's a great way to do it. I have no issues with that. Yeah, some dogs just are not going to cooperate with you. Some will, some won't. So the 4.1 assignment, the professional spotlight, is all about watching videos and seeing seeing people that are already in your industry, talking about what you learned from those videos and what you can take away from those videos. What really stood out from those videos to you. So for this video, you can use the Google link that we have in the instructions, or you can find other ones, such as anything on Lynda, TED Talks, YouTube, Vimeo, as long as it's somebody that's a professional from the industry. So you are going to view 2 videos from your degree program. So 2 videos from your degree program, two more, 2 more videos from a degree other than your own, that are still connected to the class. So any of the degree programs that are represented in this class, if you can't remember them all, please go back and view the archive for session 1. In session 1, I talk about all the different degree programs uh, that are in the class, or all the degrees programs that are connected to the class. And then lastly, you're going to find one video that is definitely not on our list that we provide you, that can be related to your degree program or one of the connected ones as well. So you are going to be reviewing 5 videos, at least 2 from your program, at least 2 from a connected program, and one that is definitely outside of the list. If it is a lynda.com class, do we use the first video, the preview video, or can we pick a video from the lesson? I would say you can either use the first video or any video from the lesson, especially if it's from a lesson that you really got something out of. So if you were trying to figure out how to properly use the magic wand tool, and you were looking at the Adobe Photoshop Essentials, and they had a specific chapter on the magic wand tool, you could certainly use that. We want you to do some from the list, William. At least a couple from the list. So, what we want you to do for these videos, in your submission, make sure you have your name, your class number, and your degree program. For the videos, give us the degree that the video represents, not your degree, but the degree that the video represents, the video name, and the full URL. Give us the full link. Don't just, like, if you found something on CNN, don't just give me CNN.com. Give me the full link. And then about a paragraph on what you learned from this video with this person speaking. You're going to do that for each of them. It's going to be a paragraph for each of the videos. So that's for videos 1 and 2. Videos 3 and 4, pretty much the same thing, but it's going to be from a different but connected program. So one of the other degrees that are represented in this class. It's at least 1 paragraph for each video. So at least one paragraph for each of the videos, and make sure they're solid paragraphs, not like two sentence paragraphs. It should be at least be 5 sentences or so. And then on video 5 must come from outside of the Google Drive list. It can be the degree is up to you, but once again, give us the site name and what you learned about it. And as far as the due date for this one is Sunday, not Thursday. It is Sunday. The rubric for the first one is Thursday. You have to have your initial video done for the 4.0 project on Thursday. But this one, the 4.1 project, it's due in its entirety on Sunday. However, if you get this done by Thursday, well, that's just less you have to do over the weekend, right? And who can argue that logic? Get everything done. You have the weekend to yourself. A little time to decompress to whatever your next class is going to be. I can't tell you all the degree programs right off. For many of you, it's going to be English, I think. For many of you, I think it'll be English as your next class. Not everyone, but I just can't remember what everyone's degree program is for your next class. Oh, discrete math. Yeah, discrete math. That's another big one. I can't remember. Have you had English yet, or do you have English next, or have you not had English yet? I can never remember. Yeah, I think many of you are going to have English next. You're Somebody just said they're curious about the English class. I'm not sure. Schedules might be up if you look ahead to your forward classes, so you might know who your instructor is going to be. If that's not the case, you should know by the end of the week. So if you do know who your instructor is going to be, you can always reach out to them a little bit early if you have any questions about the class and what it's going to be like. Now this project, we do ask for customization in this project. Once again, adding images to it and whatnot. These are some good examples. The two examples in the back are pretty good. The two examples up front are great. These are excellent examples. So the headers, footers, maybe a little change of background color. They added some images to it. The one in the lower right corner has the images and the little funky fonts where it's appropriate. You wouldn't want to use that font for the entire project, of course. But you're going to have to put some thought into how you want this to look. So we do require you to have some sort of customization for this project. How do you change the background color? You know what? I can't remember it right offhand, Jasmine, but it's pretty easy to look up. It's not something that I do very often, but it's not terribly difficult. There is a change backdrop color to you just change it to a color, or you could change it to an image even as well. I don't recommend changing the entire background to an image simply because it makes it very easy for text to kind of get drowned out, so to speak. But changing the background color of a page is not difficult. I just can't remember the exact instructions right offhand. So going over what the requirements are, once again, just going through the exceptional column. If you want the most points possible, you'll have it in by Sunday, sent via FSO platform, in PDF format. So please make sure that you have it in PDF format. You have the correct naming convention and no spelling or grammar errors. Next up, you'll have reviewed 5 or more. Oh, actually, I take that back. It's going to be 5 or more videos reviewed, 2 more paragraphs with more than 5 sentences each. So it's going to be 2 paragraphs, not 1. I take that back. You want to have 2 paragraphs of at least 5 sentences each for each video. Yes, 2 paragraphs. I'm sorry, Taryn, that was my mistake. With the week I've been having, I've been pulled apart in so many different directions. I think that I can't think straight anymore. And remember, you have to talk about what you learned, what inspired you, what was your takeaway, and how you will use this information going in the future. And then lastly is the customization. Title pages, text formatting, headers and footers, photos, anything that you want on there to make sure that you have some good customization on your project and put a little bit of your flair into it. Once again, we're not grading on artistic talent, but you do have to have some sort of imagery in there. And that is the 4.1 project. Does anybody have any questions on that? Christopher, do you want to ask in chat, or do you want me to unmute you? I'm good either way. All right, let me find your name here. There we go. All right, Chris, I have you unmuted on my end, but you're still. There we go. What's your question, Chris?
All right. My question is, I already started the 4.1 assignment last week,
Mm-hmm.
and the very first video I did was just a preview on Lydia. Now I know you said you would rather us use the any video from the lesson and so on. You said you didn't want us to use the preview. I was just wondering if you wanted me to go back and rewrite that review.
I'm okay with the preview as long as it's got good information from it.
Okay.
As long as
Yeah.
as long as it's something that you can write about and something that you're going to get something out of, I'm okay with that. A lot of times the preview video itself is not quite enough, but in this situation, if you feel that it is enough, I'm okay with that.
Sounds awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? How does one look for video 5? Um, Honestly, just start doing internet searches. So, for example, Xavier, what is your industry? Yeah, TED Talks is a great one, by the way. What's your industry, Xavier? If you're still there, mobile dev. So I would look up mobile development speakers, the Apple conference as well, Apple or the Android conferences. A lot of the guest speakers from there, from those conferences, are actually online and available to view. Those would be excellent for your industry. So if you find guest speakers from conferences, um, anything that you want to use from there, perfectly fine. How do we credit their videos for works cited? All that we're asking for this project is a direct link to the video. That's all we're asking for this one, Ruth. And Michelle, yes, definitely, you can use a video that you've watched before. Absolutely. Any other questions? All right. Well, I know this session was a little bit shorter. What about the pictures for the works cited? Use APA formatting, and if you want to know how to cite those properly, I will type this in. Projectapa.info will show you how to properly cite images in a project. And this goes for all of you. If you have not done so yet, uh, I would go to and bookmark projectapa.info. You will definitely be using that in your English class. So there's a little heads up for you guys that are going into English. Yeah, about 10 paragraphs total, Mary. Yes, Corey, that is perfectly fine. You do not need to be in the video. Taking the image straight from the video is perfectly fine as well. In which case, you would cite the video, and the project APA will have that citation on there for you as well. Yeah, most people are familiar with MLA and Chicago style. APA. I asked the difference once, and I believe it was APA was used mainly in scientific publications. So that's why we use APA citations. You're going to learn a lot more about that in your English class. But I would say, if you can start using them now, that's going to help you going ahead in the future. It'll give you a little bit more of a leg up for English when you start that next month. Any other questions? All right. So we need to cite images for 4.1. Yes, cite them as best as you can, Taryn. Once again, go to the website that I had on there for Project APA. We're not really taking points off for that, but I do suggest it just so that way you guys get used to doing citations because you're gonna have to start doing them next month in English. Trevor, it's a good way to brush up on APA style. But once again, I'll put that website in there for everyone again. I know it kind of goes by fast. Oops, if I learn how to type. Yeah, that is an excellent citations website to bookmark while you're here at Full Sail. So I would suggest all of you go to that website, check it out, bookmark it. It gives you a lot of great information on APA citations. I know that some people have also used Citation Machine, and Citation Machine will do APA formatting. However, I suggest it doesn't always quite work. It kind of gets things mixed around on occasion. So I recommend you, what's the word I'm looking for? I recommend that you hand do them, I guess, first before you start using Citation Machine. Yeah, always double check automation. Automation is great, but it's always good to make sure that you're looking at it when it's done. If you do it on your own for a little while and get used to it, then it's great because you can glance at it and make sure that it's correct, and you'll know exactly what you're looking for. Any other questions? All right, Don, I see your question. Give me just 1 second here. I'm going to make sure there's nothing else. Correct, Chris. They go on their own page. All right. So I'm going to stop the recording. Once again, thank you everyone for showing up. This session was a little bit shorter. There's 38 of you on the last week after spring break, so that's a great turnout. Once again, thank you everyone for showing up. I am going to hang out here for a little bit longer just in case anybody's got any last minute questions. Uh, I wish you all the best going into your future classes. I'm sure many of you are going to do great. Please feel free to reach out to us too as you get further along. I have students do that all the time. Contact me and show me their work, especially in my campus classes, but it's great when the online students reach out as well. So thank you, everyone. Take care and have a great evening.